Scream is one of my favorite franchises ever. It's a kind of franchise that usually gets it right. Maybe not every single time, but most of the time. So when I heard that Scream 7 is coming, I was really excited, especially because Kevin Williamson is coming back to write it. Not even my fractured foot can stop me. Kevin Williamson is the writer who created the original Scream. He helped build the story and the characters we cared about. But Scream 7 did not really match all the hype for me. But I also think that people are overreacting. It's not the worst movie ever, especially if you compare it to other slasher movies like The Strangers or the newer I Know What You Did Last Summer. In this video, we're taking a close look at Scream 7. Let's talk about the best scenes I enjoyed the most, plot holes or worst scenes, cringy or don't make sense, and my ideas on how the movie could have been better. The movie begins in where a couple is staying at the old house of Stu Macher, which has been turned into a creepy Ghostface-themed Airbnb. Their night quickly turns into a nightmare when Ghostface attacks and brutally kills them. Meanwhile, Sidney Prescott is living a quiet life in Indiana with her husband Mark and her teenager daughter Tatum. But the peace doesn't last long. A new Ghostface appears and begins targeting Sidney again, even pretending to be Stu, somehow still alive. When one of Tatum's friends is murdered at school, it becomes clear that the killings have started again. More attacks follow, including a deadly night at a bar where several teens are killed. The killers use technology and fake videos of past Ghostface killers to scare and manipulate Sidney. In the final showdown at Sidney's house, the truth is revealed. The killers are Sidney's neighbor Jessica and a hospital worker named Marco. Jessica's twisted plan was to turn Tatum into the next final girl by forcing her to watch her mother die. But Sidney and Tatum fight back together and kill the attackers. Best scenes: tandem of Mark and Sidney. We all knew how badass Sidney Prescott is. She's tough, smart, and never weak. But most of the time, Sidney takes on Ghostface all by herself, showing why she's the ultimate survivor. But in Scream 7, we get something new. A scene where she's not alone. When she and her husband fight together, it makes everything more intense. I love that scene. We've seen her team up with Gale before, punching or shooting the killer, but never like this. This fight feels like a real action scene with careful moves and teamwork. You can feel the tension, which makes it more exciting and thrilling. It's a rare chance to see Sidney fighting with someone else, and it really works. We even saw her get this mailbox and slamming it on the killer, the Ghostface. Gale running over Ghostface. The Gale running over Ghostface scene feels almost like a superhero moment, and that's probably why some people compare it to a Marvel-style reveal. In the scene, everything is tense. Ghostface is attacking Mark. Chaos is happening. Then, out of nowhere, Gale shows up and hits Ghostface with the car. It's sudden, dramatic, and kind of over the top, but in a fun way, and I liked it. It gives Gale a strong entrance and reminds us she's not there to report the story. She's a badass bitch, just like Sidney. Coffee shop scene. I'm actually really glad I did not watch the trailer of Scream 7 because if I had, this scene probably would not hit the same. Tatum is hiding inside the coffee shop and Sidney is on the phone guiding her, telling her exactly what to do. She spots the killer's shadow on the wall, lines up on the shot, and pulls the trigger, just like what Sidney instructed. She hits him. For a second, you think, that's it. It's over. She hits him. But we all know the rule. You have to shoot Ghostface in the head. And right before she can finish it, he attacks her again. The struggle feels intense. Tatum manages to fight back and get herself out of danger. You think she survived and escaped, and then, boom, another Ghostface appears. That reveal of the second killer was so good. It caught me off guard. The worst scenes. Chatty Gale and Sidney. One of the most frustrating scenes in the movie happens early on, and I swear, it made me want to yell at the screen. Gale actually runs over Ghostface during one of the first attacks. He's down. For once, they have the upper hand. And what do? Instead of ending it right there, Gales gets out of the car and she and Sidney starts having a full-on catch-up conversation while he's just lying there on the ground. I'm sitting there thinking, are you kidding me? This is Ghostface. This is not just a random stranger. They know how this works. In the entire franchise, we never assume the killer is dead. Always go for the head and mask the killer. It's like the franchise built its identity around being smarter than typical horror characters. And yet, here we are. There's no urgency, no panic, no instinct to grab the gun and shoot him in the head, rip off the mask, and finally end it. Instead, it feels like the danger just pauses so they can have this catch-up moment. If anyone should know better, it should be them. Tatum's boyfriend having the AI video of Stu. The more I think about this scene, the less it makes sense. Tatum finds this full AI video of Stu on her boyfriend's laptop in his car. Not just a random clip. It's a detailed recreation of the exact phone call Sidney had with AI Stu. The voice matches, the lines match, the timing matches. It's way too specific. And his explanation? He was just testing it if it was possible. Testing what exactly? He never saw the original phone call between Sidney and AI Stu. So how did he recreate it almost word for word? That's not guessing, that's copying something you've already seen. The movie wants us to believe he randomly generated the same dialogue and tone by coincidence. That's a stretch. And it's not like he typed a few lines in an app for fun. He apparently set up a green screen, performed as Stu, recorded it, edited it, and saved it. There is just a lot of effort making that clip. Nobody does all that just to casually see it if it works. I don't buy that. Plus, timeline-wise, doesn't he only see the clip at the bar for the first time? If that's true, then how was he already experimenting with it before that moment? And the biggest loophole of that scene is that if you're just testing AI software, why are you saying lines like, I'm going to kill you, Sidney, like bitch? That's not a neutral test dialogue. You can just say hi, hello, but rather you say like, I'll kill you, bitch. It feels like the movie set him up just to look extremely guilty, only to backtrack later without fully explaining the logic. Also, he was literally unconscious, knocked out, completely out of it. His girlfriend runs off, and we clearly see him still in the car. So how does he suddenly shows up exactly where she is later? Instead, somehow, he wakes up, figures out where she went, and arrives at the exact location at the perfect dramatic moment. This is one of those scenes where the movie focuses more on drama than making sense, and it pulls you out of the story because the timing and places don't add up. Killer's motives. The real mastermind behind the killings is Jessica. She tells us she was inspired by Sidney's life and believed that killing her own husband would somehow make her as successful as Sidney. When the plan fails, she tracks down Sidney, teams up with Marco and the other killer, and decides to put Tatum through the same brutal Ghostface attack Sidney survived. Honestly, her plan is a huge stretch. She thinks murdering her husband will make her as successful as Sidney? And when that doesn't work, she jumps straight to stalking Sidney and recreating the original Ghostface murders for Tatum. And the worst part, her decision to kill her own son makes almost zero sense. The excuse that he was too much like of his father just doesn't feel believable. It's a really weak motive that makes the character's logic hard to take seriously. And to add it up, she was able to carry the entire weight of his son and spiked him on the beer trapper. How to make it better? Believe it or not, this was the first Scream movie where I actually guessed who the killers were. My top guesses were Tatum, Jessica or her son, but Jessica's son felt way too obvious, so I crossed him off. I was secretly hoping it would be Tatum, Sidney's daughter, with a motive like revenge for being abandoned. When the killers were finally revealed, totally disappointing. There was no shock value, and honestly, it was kind of boring. If there's one scene I would like to redo, it's McKenna Gray's death. That moment was brutal but unnecessary. Picture this. Ghostface appears. She's hanging up in the air, struggling with that strap, but for some reason she was able to remove one strap. So now, she's hanging up in the air, but she's upside down. Ghostface stabs her once or twice. Even while being attacked, she fights back, grabbing Ghostface's leg while upside down and making him stumble. But in the end, Ghostface still stabs her in the face. The scene could have been tense, creative, and unforgettable, but it just didn't hit the mark. For me, Scream 7 is not the worst in the franchise, maybe second to the last after Scream 3. My personal ranking would be Scream 1, then Scream 2, then I think 6, 5, 4, then this one, Scream 7, and last is Scream 3. What about you? Drop your rankings in the comments. I'd like to see what you think. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.